think it's really for musicians to just show and bring about solidarity and put pressure on African governments to show that the youths want a bright future. I don't think musicians can do the administrative work, or else somebody like me will not have time to be on stage anymore, and I'll probably not have time to compose any more music. Then that means then I should just retire and just join and be a secretary or vice chairman or something, CEO of one. So I think my role mainly is to keep on talking about it anywhere I can. Most of my fans to sign up petitions or etc., and always put pressure anywhere I can to let African leaders know that the world is watching, so they need to change.
By change, what exactly do you mean?
To invest more in farming, to give the youths more opportunity, to stop corruption. And now I think one of another factors we're working on is to work with USA, so the American government can start to help with energy. And for one, that's very important for a country like Nigeria that can't seem to figure out how to provide electricity for its people.
So definitely we will still talk about corruption and all that, because it's always part of your message as a musician. But I'm wondering, there was a time that agriculture was really thriving in Nigeria, like cocoa, groundnut, stuff like that. We were really exporting cocoa like from Kano. Right now, it looks like, at least to ordinary Nigerians, it looks like the government is focusing more on oil. What are some of the things that you're doing as an ambassador for DoAgric that can help the Nigerian government to realize, hey, we have more than oil, why don't we focus on agriculture as well?
You see, your question is very embarrassing to the Nigerian government. I will have to ask you, then what is your role as a leader or a government? If you seek power of the people, you get into power, then you don't know what to do. Then you are asking an ordinary musician what the government should do. So what are you doing? I will now ask, what are you doing in government if you do not know the problems of the country before you now ask the people to vote you into power? Now it's unfortunate that Nigeria is concentrating more on oil, which has always been the situation ever since Nigeria found oil. So I think the problem basically is Nigeria found oil, they saw quick money, then the population of Nigeria, because I remember when we were about 20 million or so, now they say we're about 160 million. So Nigeria was just thinking about oil, importing rice and foodstuff, and they forgot to farm. This is part of the corruption out of greed, because they just wanted money. Now they did not want the money to put infrastructures in place like for healthcare, good roads, electricity. This was just corruption of putting the money in their pockets. Now, so this is, I don't even have to be an ambassador of one to keep on fighting. This has been the fight of my father all his life. This has been my fight ever since I started as a musician. So this pressure will always be put on government, on my side. Thank God for an organization like one who can now, like I said, do the administrative work. Like when there's a seminar somewhere, they can be present there. Their members can be there, making sure the petitions are signed online. There's no way as a musician I'm going to start sitting on the computer and start typing and making sure people are doing all this stuff. So it's very important. Musicians, keep on singing about it. Wherever you have interviews, talk to your fans at concerts, everywhere. So this I'll continue to do. Now, but your question, saying what should African leaders do? It's very embarrassing. If I was a leader, it's like asking me what am I playing? What am I doing as a musician? And I don't know. I'm supposed to perform, make people happy, sing a song. You know, what are you a leader for if you don't know what to do? You have to understand, first you seek political office. You must first analyze the problem to win the votes of your people. Then you arrive there, then you are just stealing.
By night we work and pray for peace to reign, because the suffering's too much. So many meaningless wars.
They don't understand that. Right now, I still think, as we speak, having this interview, the doctors in Nigeria are on strike. They have been on strike now for 2 weeks. Well, the last time I figured it out was 2 weeks. And the average Nigerian can't afford private healthcare. So can you imagine how many people are dying? Can you imagine how many children are dying? Can you imagine how many mothers at birth are dying, or their children are dying because they cannot afford private hospitals?
And now we have Ebola,
which has arrived in Nigeria because the doctor who treated the Liberian caught the disease, and God knows how many more people on the flight. So these are things that's why you have leaders, people who must love your country, who must love their people, who must be envious when they come to America and see the roads in America and see the way America, and will say, wow, when I become a leader, I want to give my people this same kind of infrastructures. Why don't you wonder that? Don't you see the roads here? I keep looking out of my window, and I'm just thinking of my area in Alagbule. If you know this, you should come and, yes, it's the border between Ogun State and Lagos State. I wish you would come there. They are building a bridge. First, there's one little road that takes over 100,000 to 1 million cars every day. Now the road is completely broken. So they decide to build a bridge. Then I think they now have no more money to complete the bridge. So there's no road, there's no bridge. Can you imagine the chaos every morning that people have to rush to work and rush back from work? They just make life more and more difficult for the people. How can you be a leader and not want to give your people peace?
And they come here, like you said, which leads to my next question. What do you think about African leaders coming here to Washington, D.C.? What do you think about this whole thing?
I will try and be diplomatic. Hopefully they are going to learn. You see, I could be very rude. Your questions annoy me, not you. The questions annoy me, because how can you be a leader and come to America all these years and not be, as an ordinary citizen of Nigeria? Muritala Airport embarrasses me, because that means you have not seen JF Kennedy Airport or Frankfurt or Heathrow.
They told us they recently renovated the Muritala Mohammed Airport.
I'm sure you have passed through there. Are you impressed with the renovation?
I've seen pictures and I am not impressed.
So you want to hear it from my mouth, Abby? I am ashamed. But let me give you a scenario. If you take somebody from one of the villages in Nigeria and you show him that airport, or you bring him to Lagos and he sees the skyscrapers, he will say, what are all these people complaining about? This is magnificent. Oh, this is paradise. You see? So it's so important that our people are exposed. It's so important that people have the opportunity to see the world. You see, Americans see everywhere. Europeans see everywhere. From the age of like 16, they are traveling. Even you see hitchhiking, they are going about. They are going to see the world. Nigerians don't see the world, so they're impressed. You see, your governor will just build one 10-kilometer road, and everybody, he doesn't even do it properly. He takes one layer of tar, the next rainy season comes, the road is in a mess. When you see the way they build roads in Germany, you see, unfortunately, I've been able with my career to travel around the world, and I just get angry. Every time like I told you, I haven't been able to sleep. I think it's because I'm going back to Nigeria. And when I imagine the stress of no electricity, poverty beyond it's my mind, I just can't stop worrying. Then you think of education, which is so important for our people. How many people can afford a good education for their people, for their children? The basic education now, primary level, anything less than 100,000, 150,000 naira is no education. Now, the average salary is 10,000 naira. Who is going to afford that for their child? How can you not want to educate your children? So, what is going to happen in a few years' time? Nigeria will have no secretaries. Nigeria will have no nurses. I mean, just the middle class that's supposed to be the spinal cord of the country will not exist. So what will happen? The country must collapse. So, you see, I worry, and you must worry, because we are not 10 million. If it's true, we are 160 million. If Nigeria goes into a revolution, because you hear on social media, people are saying we must riot, the way the youth talk today, out of frustration, you have to be afraid. And then you have to agree with them, because they are frustrated. They can't get a job. They know they will never be able to get all the things they see. I want to get married. I want to have my own kids. I want to buy a Jeep. They think big. And is it wrong for them to think big? And then you don't give them the opportunity to be able to work and be able to afford a good family or a good small apartment, things like this. Many young I did not even leave my parents' house till I was way in my 30s. By 18, your father is in Europe and America. They're telling you, if you are in this house, you are going to start paying the rent. Go and get a job. Get a job. You see the way American and Europeans think. We are so, and it's not like we don't have the brains. We know that Nigerians excel all over the world. Sports, medicine, architecture, engineering, name the profession. Nigerians, or don't let us be national, Africans are excelling everywhere. Saudi, we are everywhere.
I'm wondering, in terms of the government, taking care of their citizens, how do you assess the performance of Nigerian president, especially the way he's been handling the missing girls that were kidnapped by Boko Haram?
If you remember, when the missing girls first came out, somebody in his administration came out and said they had found the girls.
Yeah, the soldiers.
Now, it took them a long time to even apologize that, sorry, wrong information. It took the president so the government first denied, no, Borno governor is part of the plan. They said it's a conspiracy against the government. You see, you don't make mistakes like this in government. Government is a serious job. The president has still not gone there because he says he's afraid of his life. With all the security in Nigeria, he's afraid to go there. But then, he has not put enough security there in place to save the people of his country that he wants them to vote for him in the next elections. As a president, you must risk your life. Exactly. But you are ready to take the flight from Nigeria to America, Abi, to come out for the summit. What if the plane crashes? That can come at any time. So leadership is by example. If you ask me, do I want to be a leader of Nigeria, I will quickly run. I'll say no. All these problems, I know I cannot have the time because I love my profession too much. I'm not willing to sacrifice. If I was supposed to be a leader, I'm sure God will have showed me go and be a leader of Nigeria. So when you want to go there, you must have the enthusiasm, you must have the love. And then a country like Nigeria, there's no way you'll have time for yourself, your family, or anybody. The problems of that country are enormous. They are just too much. Is it different? I don't want to use the word tribes. Different peoples in the country, different sectors. We have the religious problem. We are a very troublesome people. So you want to be. There's no way you are going to make 150 million people happy. So you want to take that job. You must know what you are taking.
But a lot of people have been saying that there are some basic things the government could do regarding these girls. Like, is there anything you think at least they should do?
Yes, to finish rounding up your question, you see, I diverted because I'm just very angry right now. So he now announces, we are now in a dilemma because the government has said, yes, because everybody is helping. But now, look at, we're at a stalemate. And you can't blame the government here because the government says they can't go and save the girls. Because if they do, Boko Haram will kill the girls or sell them as slaves. So that is closed. Boko Haram want the government to release some of their leaders in prison for the release of the girls. The government said no. So you know what that means? Case closed.
Wow.
Abby? So nobody talks about it again. And then when you see international bring back our girls, everybody's already tired. All the posters, bring back our girls, bring back our girls. Me too, I have bring back our girls on my stages, right? We're all getting tired. And why are we getting tired? Because the government failed to react immediately. And now, the government is right because they can't go into the forest. Because if they go to try and save the girls, Boko Haram will kill the girls. And now they don't want to compromise by releasing their leaders.
Your dad, very well known to be an activist, and if something like this were to be going on with African leaders here, a lot of people think that you won't find him in a place like this because he was always speaking out against African leaders.
I'm sure he won't be here. He'll probably be abusing them, calling them names that I shouldn't say on camera. But like I said, I think we are in a very delicate situation globally. And probably, I believe, with an organization like ONE, which is why I give it a lot of support, if we can find peaceful means and a very strong diplomatic solution to avoid a revolution that will cause more bloodshed or anything violent, I think it is our duty as global citizens to give it a last shot. Because when we see what's going on in Syria, Libya, Egypt, we all know Congo, Sudan, violence will never solve anything. If people with intelligence can put pressure on African leaders to make them see reason, it's like re-education. Nobody wants to be a bad leader. We have to understand psychology. Psychiatrists, nobody wants to be bad. You just keep doing bad things and then you don't know how to stop. And this is bad, maybe probably from bad education somewhere along in your life. But everybody would love to be a famous leader that people love, is people who love. They just can't help probably stealing. Maybe they steal and say, okay, I will not steal again. But they can't help it. So somebody needs to sit down with them and explain to them that the world is watching and they need to change. And I mean, maybe they are best friends. Maybe Obama needs to sit with them and talk to them one-on-one, privately, not for TV, you know. So if one can put this kind of pressure on them and advise them and let them see the bigger picture of the game to make them do these good things, wouldn't it be better for all of us?
It would be.
So I believe, yes, my father, then you have to understand why my father was doing those things. When he came with bright ideas, he was beaten. When he did anything, he was beaten. He came out to the song, he was beaten. I've never been arrested. The only time I was beaten was in his house when I was arrested with him. So you can understand. So if I think it's very important for me to use my intelligence and help, because I know Nigeria, nobody can afford another Rwanda in Nigeria or anything like this anymore. Africa can't afford it. So we need to, one, I hope it gets very powerful where the administrative sector of one can have the might to put pressure on African leaders and find solutions, sitting with them, advising them, like DoAgric, very good idea. Explain to them, you see, and let them understand time factor. If you don't quickly start planting now, you see, this plant is going to take so long to grow. You know how many people are going to die between this period. So if you don't, we need to plant today for it to grow here, for us to eat tomorrow.
Truth don't die, yo. Truth don't die, yo. Now yesterday him talk, he want to tell about the world. Truth is the people he want, the true word of God. When people start to lie, set my life for the world. If people stop to lie, and don't the fool be one. If people stop to lie, if stop to lie, if stop to lie.